Dear students, welcome to online class of class 10. I hope you all are hale and hearty. Hope you are staying safe at home. Today we are going to start up with our English supplementary book named Footprints Without Feet. The very first chapter is Triumph of Surgery, written by James Harriet. Here, narrator Harriet, a veterinary surgeon, very tactfully saves Tricky, a dog, from the upcoming danger. Let's see what is that upcoming danger. Tricky, a small dog, is pampered and overfed by his rich mistress. He falls seriously ill and his mistress consults a veterinary surgeon. Does he perform an operation? Does the dog recover? So, here in this chapter, first of all, we must know that what is a triumph and what is the surgery. Students, triumph means victory and surgery is to operation. So in this chapter, the Tricky, a small dog, he is so much pampered and overfed by his rich mistress. He falls seriously ill and his mistress, she consults a doctor. Does that doctor perform an operation? Or does the dog recover? These all things we'll find out in the chapter. I was really worried about Tricky this time. I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street with his mistress, and I was shocked at his appearance. He had become hugely fat, like a bloated sausage, with a leg at each corner. His eyes, bloodshot and rheumy, stared straight ahead, and his tongue lolled from his jaws. Who is I here? The narrator, James Harriet. So he talks about Tricky, that he was really worried about that dog named Tricky. I had pulled up. Students, here, pulled up is a phrasal word that means to stop. Now, the narrator stopped his car as soon as he saw that the mistress and his dog are on the road. He was shocked at the dog's appearance. He had become so fat, hugely fat, and it was looking as if it is a bloated sausage, means a very fat meat which had legs at four corners. It's not looking like a dog, but it's looking like a meat that has four legs at the different corners. And its eyes were bloodshot with rheumy and stared straight ahead. Very rheumy eyes means very watery and red eyes. And it was looking straight ahead. And it had a tongue which was lolled from his jaws. That is, coming out of the mouth, lolling from the jaws. Mrs. Pamphray hastened to explain. He was so listless. Now, as soon as she saw the doctor, she explained hurriedly that he was so listless. बहुत ज़्यादा lazy, आलसी हो गया था Mr. Harriet. He seemed to have no energy, and it seemed that it had no energy. So I thought he must be suffering from malnutrition. So Mrs. Pamphray, she explained that I thought that the dog is suffering from malnutrition, means the lack of nutrition. So I have been giving him some little extras between meals to build him up, and some malt and cod liver oil and a ball of Horlicks at night to make him sleep. So she's giving him a bowl of Horlicks. Nothing much really. Nothing else she's giving. So when the narrator listened all this, he asked her, "And did you cut down on the sweet things as I told you. The narrator asks that did she cut down? Cut down is again a phrasal verb. That means to stop. So narrator asks that is he did she cut down the meal, decrease the meal? So she replied, no. Oh, I did for a bit, but he seemed to be so weak. Yes, she did, but the dog seemed to be so weak. So he only, he's only, he does love creams and cakes and chocolates. So she refused. She said that ki, how can I bear the dog not to give this thing? So she looked down. That the narrator looked down at the dog. That was the trouble. Tricky's only fault was his greed, that he cannot stop eating. He had never been known to refuse food. He never refuses the food, and he would tackle a meal at any hour of the day or night. Means he can have meal any time of the day or night. Now I wondered about all the things Mrs. Humphrey hadn't mentioned. Now he asked that he asked about the things which she hadn't mentioned, but he knew that she's giving much more. Are you giving him plenty of exercise? Then he asked, and she said, well, he has his little walks with me, as you can see, but Hodgkin is her gardener, has been down with lumbago. Lumbago is a disease that, so there has been no ring throwing lately. Now he used to play ring throwing with that dog, so for some time it has no games with him. I tried to sound severe. Now I really mean this. Now the narrator wanted to sound severe, and he meant it. If you don't cut his food right now, then give him more exercise, he's going to be really ill. He warned her that the dog would be really ill. You must harden your heart and keep him on a very strict diet. Now he explained her that she must harden her heart. अपने आप को बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट बनना पड़ेगा और उसकी डाइट को भी कंट्रोल करना पड़ेगा. Mrs. Humphrey wrung her hands. Now Mrs. Humphrey, she rubbed her hands. Oh, I will, Mr. Harriet, I'm sure you're right. And she said that, yes, Mr. Harriet, you're right, but it's very difficult for me. So she set off, the head down along the road, and as if it seemed that she was very determined to put the new regime. Regime is a new diet plan, and practice immediately. I watched their progress with growing concern. Tricky was tottering along in his little tweed coat. So now he watched when they were going, they both, Tricky and his mistress. So he saw that they both are going, and he was loitering along, means shaking, means he was not even able to walk. Tricky was loitering along with her, that was tottering along with her. In a tweed coat, that dog was wearing a very costly tweed coat. He had a whole wardrobe of these coats. He had plenty of coats for the cold winter and a raincoat for the wet days. He struggled on. Now, as the narrator, he saw them, so he felt that this dog needs some different type of exercises. Dropping in his harness. Now the dog is shrugging and drooping in his harness. I thought it wouldn't be long before I heard from Mrs. Humphrey. Now he thought that I think there is no time for the dog to live more if he would be having same kind of diet, same kind of meal. The expected call came within a few days. Mrs. Humphrey was distraught. Now, as he was expecting, because she was not cutting down the meal, so he got a call from Miss Humphrey. That was, she was distraught, means extremely worried. and she told that Tricky would eat nothing. Now Tricky is not eating anything, refused even his favorite dishes, and Tricky is not even having his favorite dishes, and besides he had bouts of vomiting, and he is vomiting. The dog is vomiting a lot, spells of vomiting again and again. He is vomiting. Bouts means again and again, spells of vomiting. He spent all his time lying on a rug, and it all the time it is lying on a rug. On the rug it is lying over the that particular rug, doing nothing, eating nothing. So here didn't want to go for walks, didn't want to do anything. It is in no mood to do anything, don't want to walk, don't want to do anything, don't want to eat, but just he is sitting at a corner. I had made my plans in advance. Now I means the narrator had made his plans in advance, that what to do with that particular dog named Tricky. The only way was to get Tricky out of the house for a period, and the only way was to get him out of the हाउस फॉर अ पीरियड, फॉर सम टाइम, थोड़े टाइम के लिए डॉग को घर से बाहर लाना पड़ेगा. आई सजेस्टेड दैट ही बी hospitalized for about a fortnight to be kept under observation. Now, at least it should be kept in the hospital for fortnight, means 14 days के लिए उसे हॉस्पिटल में रखना पड़ेगा. So, the narrator told her that the dog is to be kept there. So she is very worried. She doesn't want to leave her dear dog, but what to do? She had no option. The poor lady almost swooned. Now the lady is swooning, means very worried. She was sure he would. She is very worried, very fainted that she was sure he would pine and die if he did not see her every day. And she was sure that she cannot live without the dog. She cannot have her meal. She would die without that dog, because she loved her dog so much. She loved Tricky so much. Tricky was the only person with whom she feels happy, and the only member in her house, except these servants. But I took a firm line. Tricky was very ill, and this was the only way to see him. Now, the narrator clearly told her that this is the only way. If she wants to take care of Tricky, she wants that Tricky be well, and she wants Tricky to. She wants her dog to be saved. So she had to take this decision. She had to accept this decision. In fact, I thought it best to take him without delay. And in fact, the narrator thought it is best to take that dog without any delay.